baby. We are back. We are just getting done with our holiday here, and on this Sunday night of November 26th, we are here to talk about what happened on Thanksgiving. It was not good. It was not a great game. We're going to dive into all that and where the Lions stand in the playoffs and the remaining schedule and all that. But before we do, let's get to the Blue Kool-Aid crew that is here. So I'm Big Z. Let's get to the other two. We got UJ.
Hello.
And Ruddog.
Yo.
So, gentlemen, Lions fans, the Lions lose 29-22 on Thanksgiving to the Packers as 8-point favorites at home. This is the 7th straight loss on Thanksgiving for the Lions. We've had a lot of rough holidays around Thanksgiving lately. And honestly, 29-22, I don't think represents how bad this game was for the Lions in a lot of ways. I think, at least. This was the opposite, pretty much, of the Week 3 game against the Packers in Green Bay, where they just got off to a lightning fast start. We could not catch up. And turnovers. Just an absolute killer.
Yes.
Jared Goff and this Lions offense has 6 turnovers in the last 2 weeks. There was one fumble on a kickoff. But are you guys concerned with the amount of turnovers our offense is committing in the last couple of weeks? I mean, we can talk about the defense later, but no for you, Ruddog? Why is that? Why are you not concerned? Especially with Jared Goff and his fumbling. That's always a concern, because that was something
because I think the NFL, once again, has confounded our ability to just see things. Like, when you want to throw is a throw and a fumble is a fumble. I don't know. I just don't think that one fumble was a fumble.
I thought it was clearly a fumble. So
well, I disagree. But anyway, I don't care. Oh my God, like, all of it, all of the negativity. People need to just calm the F down. And I say the F down. Calm the F down. Like, seriously, this team is the same team. This team has been. They were on a 3 games in 11 3 games in 11 days, and they won 2 out of 3. Like, the Packers said it themselves. Like, we were looking forward to this one. We've been waiting for this one. Like, what? Like, so that means they were probably, from the day we whooped their butt last time, they were marking the calendar for this one. Meanwhile, we had 4 days where we actually thought about them. So, you know what? Shit happens. It's the NFL. It's a tough game. None of this looks like it's systematic. Like, the O-line struggled a little bit. Goff's turnovers and fumbles are not some super endemic thing. I just don't buy it.
UJ.
Well, kind of a lot of what Ruddog just said there. 3 games in 11 days is a lot. And I know if I were the Packers, after being embarrassed the way we embarrassed them early in the season, that's the only game I'd be looking at all year, just to get total revenge. Mm-hmm. And I'm not blaming Goss fumbles or the refs. I'm blaming Tracy Walker, if I'm going to blame anybody, for this loss, because one play set the whole tone for the game, and that was the very first play of the game where they threw a bomb. And then, Cam Sutton was out there chasing his dude, and the safety's supposed to be there to help him out, but the safety let him get behind him, and Jordan Love just threw a long pass for a huge gain, and that just set the tone for the whole game. So, Tracy Walker, I'm sorry, buddy, but that one's on you. But no, all kidding aside, I'm not overly concerned right now. They had a long go of it here. I think this week and a half, so the next game will help them out a lot, kind of refocus a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if we had a huge game next week. So, I'm not overly concerned. Yeah, they are concerned. The fumbles are a concern, okay? Let's be honest.
I mean, my concern isn't the offense, because I think we've seen them, and they got that last touchdown to maintain their 20-point game streak, too.
Well, here you go, Z. Are you confirmed about the fumble that I just think was not a fumble because of Goff, or because of the guy who got in there and easily hit his arm as he was throwing it? Because that, to me, was more of a concern in this game than Jared Goff's. Why was Jared Goff scrambling for his life? Why was his arm getting hit as he's throwing?
This was our offensive line's worst game of the year by a wide margin, I thought.
I just don't see
Corby Sorsdal got benched midway through this game. He's been horrible the last 2 games. He's been the worst rated offensive player the last 2 weeks. He's allowed like over 10 pressures in 2 games. The fumble was Sorsdal's guy from the right guard spot, or left guard spot.
I think his guy got the initial pressure and the second guy got it, but it was hard to tell. I don't know.
Either way, he got benched. He was not playing good. And they need Jonah Jackson back badly because they lost their depth, especially with Big V getting hurt. When Big V was there, at least they someone else went down. They had someone else to plug, but that's just one less guy to plug. Now they're I don't think they drafted Sorsdal with the intention of starting him this year.
I gotta say though, it's great to get him
to
the
a
reps.
degree, but yeah, I mean definitely the experience is great for him.
All that's
it's going to cost to our quarterback, but
yeah. I mean, hey, but you can't really blame him alone because I watched Decker get toasted. I watched Glasgow get toasted. Sewell got beat. Like, no one played great on that O-line. Maybe no, it wasn't no one. I can't think of maybe Decker Ragnow. I don't think if I saw him for sure. But I'm just that O-line played bad. So to put it all on Sorsdal even doesn't really fit.
I think just the team just sort of kind of hit a midseason wall here. They've had a long go of it. When you're winning as much as they've been winning, and it's a lot of pressure to keep the winning up. And I think they kind of sort of tightened up in this game a bit. They didn't look as loose as they normally did.
That's a good word for it.
I've experienced this at a lesser level when I played in high school and college, but these guys are under a lot of pressure. And I think Campbell's teaching these guys how to win, right? Okay, we learned how to win on the road. We learned how to win a tight game. We learned how to win this kind of game. Well, there's another element to learning to win is winning consistently. It's really hard. And when you're the top dog and everyone's gunning for you, it takes a new kind of thing that these guys got to learn, and they're learning it. So that's why I'm not overly concerned because this is all part of that process, and these guys are learning. They're going to have games like this sometime.
And it doesn't matter how many cool turns of phrase Dan Campbell comes up about how we're going to be on your front porch or whatever when you're getting hunted, because hunted is getting hunted. People know who you are. You got a target on your back now. No one's gonna and you know what? Think about it this way: the NFL, these guys, they got a shit ton of pride. If you're the Packers and you got spanked by the Lions like that, and it's a 3-game losing streak to the Lions on top of it, you know what you feel about this team. If you're the Packers, you're not thinking, "Oh, this is a good Lions." You're thinking, "Fuck this! How are we losing to this fucking Lions? Let's have some pride." They don't want to. They're not going to just let some up-and-start team come up and run through the league. If they see some new team who starts winning a bunch, they're going to say, "Prove it," and they're going to come out and try to put their foot on our throats every game, and they're going to have a target on their back. They're hunting us. Maybe we're hunting them back, but it don't matter. The efforts, the level of intensity we're going to get is going to be consistently higher than we're used to. And
I'll tell you what I'm concerned about. I'm still concerned about our defense. But I've not seen improvement in a few weeks here, and it's starting to get really concerning. And I don't want to say I was right, but I mean, Jerry Jacobs is a third cornerback. That's what I've been saying over and over. And he had a horrible. I mean, he was probably the worst defender on the field in this game. They continuously targeted him, which is something that we see every week. He gave up over 100 yards. He gave up 10 of 11 completions thrown his way. Christian Watson just owned him all game. And again, I don't know if that's a product of too much time to throw in the pocket. That's definitely a contributing factor. But Hutch is constantly getting double teamed. If you can go back and people, I know some people are out there where's Hutch? Where's Hutch? Well, he's facing 2 guys every play. Now, I watched the Browns today, and Myles Garrett, and he could beat 2 guys, but he's still a slightly different beast than Hutch. But that's a rare case. But most of the time, you want to see Hutch get this the one-on-one. Or at least if he's getting double teamed, that means everybody else is taking on a single on a one-on-one pass rush, and we're not seeing that second guy win ever. And
it's created a recipe.
That's a concern.
There's an obvious recipe out there, Z. The recipe to beat Hutch: double team him, triple team him, most plays. Pick your shots when you're going to leave him single coverage, probably a play action play, and now he's where he's good. or a quick screen, whatever. But like you chip him, you double him most plays, and then the plays when he's not getting double teamed, maybe trick him with a slow him up with a run fake, and now he's got to convert run defense into pass rush, and that's really hard to do. And if no one else is picking up the slack, then it's just going to be really hard for him to get anything going, and no one really has. Like Romeo hasn't stepped up. Hey, it was Pascal's first game at other end, at least as far as I've seen, where he like consistently lined up as the bookend, and I only saw him get one good pressure all day. Like, and it was, I pulled our grandpa's move. I said Pascal hasn't got a single pressure today, and then sure enough, that play he got right to the quarterback and failed to get the sack, but he got there and pressured him.
Well, I think this is why we were
sacks, but
I think this is why we were seeing the coaching staff try out like Campbell on the edge early, midway through the season. Barnes a little bit lined up out there. Maybe they should revert back to that. I mean, somebody needs to put the pressure on the quarterback outside
think
of
about last year.
Game. I mean, Lee McNeil has stepped up to a degree.
To a degree,
yeah.
But I mean, outside of those two, it's been.
Think about when we took off last year.
There's been a couple games where they took over like the Raiders' terrible offensive line or something like that. But
well, hey, Z, let me ask you. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Go ahead, UJ.
I was talking to Ruddog about this, and we have a difference of opinion. But it seems like the Lions have gone a lot more to a zone coverage in the secondary, and I personally think this is part of the formula that is not working right now.
Is that?
I think, especially since we're not getting a pass rush, it's easier to pick a zone apart. I think.
Are we doing zone though? I see every time I see Jerry getting beat,
that's what I'm asking you. What is his? Maybe he knows the stats on this, on how I mean, we're doing it just from our naked eye watching, but that's just kind of my.
I don't know off the top of my head, unfortunately.
Because the way I see it is Jerry's always getting beat when he's in man. Like,
hopefully next podcast I'll be able to kind of break that down more. I would look into it further. It wouldn't. I mean, the Lions last year were notorious for playing
man to man,
a lot of man, like highest in the league by a wide margin. But then, like early in the season, they're playing a little more zone, especially against the Chiefs. That was notable then for that game.
Honestly,
I don't know where they stand, but I agree with you, Ruddog. It seems when Jacobs is getting beat, it is in man. But I don't know the answer, but.
Like, just one more thing to you.
What I do know is we're rushing for unsuccessfully.
Z, to your point, though, about this D-line, like, to me, there's the clear thing, the difference we're missing, like, is from last year when we were really turning things on, is James Houston's presence. Like, it doesn't have to be Houston, but you need that guy that Houston provided last year. When we took off, starting with that, like, right before the Bills game, and then the Bills game, and then after, like, Houston was adding that other dynamic pass rush threat. And racking up sacks, getting Hutch free to do his thing, and we're missing that right now. So, like, if we get like Irvin healthy, I think he could potentially provide.
Yeah,
some of that.
73-year-old Bruce Irvin, he's the answer.
He's 36 or whatever, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, he's an older dude, but like at least he knows what he's doing. He might be able to like offer something across the line on like rush downs at least or pass downs. But hey, and I'm sure plenty of the critics out there are starting to notice that Kayvon Thibodeau already has 10.5 sacks this year.
Yeah, he's been a beast. I don't know if you watched any of the Giants games, but he has been taking over in some aspects.
I ain't giving up on Hutch or anything yet, but honestly, that doesn't surprise me. Thibodeau looked like the kind of guy who I'd be surprised if he didn't get sacks. But like, I'm not sure how his run defense and all that is, but we clearly need that other rusher. Someone else needs to step up and rise to the surface as someone who can get consistent pressure on the quarterback opposite of Hutch, so that you can't just focus on taking Hutch out of the equation.
So who is going to be that guy? Do we have to wait till Christmas time for James Houston? That's a lot of weight to put on the shoulders of an undrafted free agent who's played 6 games.
we can beat teams without it, but hopefully we don't have his. Do they have a mobile quarterback for the Saints? I don't know.
No, they do not.
Kirk Cousins we could take. I think we don't need a.
Well, he's out for the year. So.
Oh God, who do they have?
Minnesota does have a mobile quarterback.
Oh so. No. I think we're gonna figure it out. I think Dan Campbell in this long break here, they're gonna figure some serious things out. He's gonna put his focus on a few specific keys, probably something to do with that, and we're gonna see dramatic improvement.
Well, I was hoping Connor would be on the pod because he's discussed getting rid of Glenn several times. So I wanted to have him come on here and defend his position.
Well, I'll ask you, Z. Then what do you think about Glenn in all this? Where do you think his level of culpability in like the lack of pass rush is?
It's tough. I think I was kind of asking because, I mean, from year one and now, would you say the defense is greatly improved?
Significantly.
Could have said that for a while, but right now it's looking like we regressed.
Year one, year 1 to year 2, I'd say sure it's improved. Year 2 to year 3, I'd say it's about on par.
Year 1 to year 2.5, maybe. Because are we just gonna forget the epically bad start to last season? But
I'm not.
This year, I mean, we've been consistently like a top.
That's
6.
why I said
I think we were ranked 16th overall. Like we're I think we're on across the board a way better defense, but we still have some issues. I think it's clear. It's not even like it's painfully obvious. We're consistently stopping the run, but a couple of these games we've gotten run up on. But like, who hasn't? Like we just watched the Bills give up like 30 plus points. Like what defense doesn't give up points in this freaking league? Like I don't know any.
I mean, scoring this year in the NFL is a 20-year low. So,
okay,
a lot of people aren't scoring points this year.
Low or no points?
Low.
Anyway, I just don't see.
It's
I don't
the lowest
see anything.
It's been in 20 years.
I think it's clear we're better. I just don't not as much as we'd like to be better. Like we still have a ways to go. Like if you look at the 49ers or the Eagles and their D lines, like we have Hutch and maybe McNeil you could kind of throw into that equation. But then to compare to like the rest of their guys, they got like Bosa, Kinlaw, freaking like whatever, or Reddick and Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, and like they can list off like several like elite players on their front. Our guys are mostly no-namers, except for like Hutch and maybe Liam building his name this year. But like I think it's clear our roster has not ascended just yet. We're still in that part of the project where we're starting to be really consistent and solid competitors, but like the roster is not elite yet, not in that part yet. Not on our front seven.
Yeah, and the Lions' defense has given up 29 or more in 4 of the last 5 games. So yeah, it is a concern. Like the Lions' offense has scored 30 points, so we're going to lose basically.
I mean, you can be concerned. I'm just not.
The last weeks, but
that also tells me it's something that's scheming because we were shutting down people pretty good early in the season, and all of a sudden we're not. So what do they figure out? Are we playing just us playing that much different, or are they just onto our scheme?
I would assume the latter. That's how this league works.
Yeah, and we haven't adjusted. We have not adjusted.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like points wise, like points you can't just look at points for the whole story because, like, let's talk about those 6 turnovers. Like, how does that help our defense? Because it sure as hell doesn't.
Good point.
And so, like, there's this defense. I agree, has been spotty and struggling right now. But to just say they're the problem right now, the offense we've been struggling as a team right now. I think that much is clear. Like this team struggles, it loses together, it wins together. Like, and that's for better or for worse. But like the offense letting down, honestly, is to me the bigger concern. The clear weakness on this team is our pass rush. I'm going to say that much. Like if I saw one place I could just start pumping roster talent into, it's clearly the pass rush. Because our offensive line, even like I'm not concerned about. I think they'll bounce back after a rough week last week. Like I just think that pass rush is the only real deficiency sort of at like in terms of talent. I just don't like. I think the rest of our team is pretty solid. Even our secondary, I think Jerry can hold up behind even a decent pass rush, and we haven't even gotten that lately.
No, we have not. And maybe a get right game is the Saints, that's who we're playing on December 3rd in New Orleans. They're a struggling offense for sure. Derek Carr, not mobile, which is great for us. They've been up and down, but they are not an elite offense by any means. It could be a great get right game. I thought the Packers would be that though. Jordan Love and his 57% completion percentage. Well, that was not the case clearly on Thanksgiving.
It was in Gibbous though, so like maybe it's all for nothing. Like maybe that was pointless. Maybe maybe you just can't fight
the moon was working against us this game. That's
right, the Gibbous
it was already written in the stars that we'd lose this game, so we were going against fate, basically. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this saw the stat going around that the Lions were 0-7 on Thanksgiving games when there's a waxing gibbous, right? A waxing gibbous moon phase.
I just heard.
Well, now they're 0-8, so that was per Jay Kuda on Twitter /X.
I'd also say, I bet if we lose that Bears game, we win that Packers game. Like, I just felt like we were riding that rail, and especially the way we pulled out that Bears game. You get that win, and maybe it doesn't get you to that level of introspection you quite need because you get the win to sort of glaze things over. You know, I'm sure they tried, but you had 4 days. Like, I think if they leave that game with a loss, they show up with a whole different attitude to face the Packers a little bit. You know, like they're going to be a little more checked, a little more the burst. Like, I think there was a bubble. There was a bubble being built. And we seem to be winning at a consistent, like 3 games, win, 1 loss. Like, you know, like we pace out our losses pretty nicely, I think. And we always seem to build a little bit and then we let down. We build a little bit, we let down. And I mean, honestly, we're 8-3. So like anyone freaking out, we're 8-3. Like, come on.
We're already 8-3. I remember a 6-2 Lions team that did not make the playoffs, though, Ruddog. That's in the back of my head.
I remember that one.
Oh, you Lions fans are frustrating folks.
You're not in till you're in. So
that's true. You're true.
You cannot write the check before it's cashed.
I ain't cashing nothing, but I ain't also getting freaking out here either. I'm with Dan. I'm not going to go into desperation, or I'm not about to start going into what did he say? He said something like that. I'm not about to panic here. There's no reason to panic. Like, it's all about fine tuning.
And kind of what you were saying earlier, Ruddog. I was kind of telling you this. I can't remember what exactly, but kind of what you were alluding to in terms of this is year 3. Campbell and Holmes both have like 6-year contracts. Like, they're building. I mean, there's a reason they didn't make a trade at the deadline, right? They're not all in on this year. They're building for a larger future, and to some degree, they might even be slightly ahead of schedule with this record. Like, I mean, they want to make the playoffs this year. That was their goal, I think. I mean, in the larger scheme of
things, the division.
They want to win the Super Bowl.
They want the division. That's their first goal.
What I'm saying is that they're not like at the point where they're ready to go all in to win a Super Bowl, I guess, and that they're trying to play the longer game. So, like, in some ways, the Lions are exceeding expectations in terms of maybe their timeline that they have, and that's why they didn't like trade like a second rounder for Montez Sweat or something like that.
I think you're 100% accurate. Z. Like
100%.
Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes did not offer any draft picks from this year for any of the players available. He would not touch this next year's draft. Like, I think he sees this as the final foundational draft of this sort of rebuild. Like the way he's built this team, like, if you get another hit draft like this year in the last 2 years, like, this team will be looking at serious not to mention another free agency with more legit talent added. Like, I think next year we're looking at like the year where, but the thing is, I don't think he's building for all in. Why do you want to build for all in and risk everything for 1 year? That's not what you want. You want to build consistent success. You want to be the Steelers. You want to be, you know, the Baltimore Ravens, who every year in, year out, they're competitive. They have a solid roster. They know that when they show up, they're going to probably win most of their games that year. And, I mean, that's what we're going to see these Lions become, the team that is built for sustained success so that every year could be a Super Bowl run, not so that, you know, we could be the Rams and be like, oh, we got ours, which, hey, they got it, great. Now what are they going to be? Maybe they'll keep up, they'll find a way to sustain it, but I think they're going to struggle and they'll fall off and maybe never come relevant again, like, not under McVay. But, like, I think we're built for sustained success, and that's what we're building towards. So don't go all in. Hold your cards, build your strength.
But Ruddog was the one Super Bowl worth it for the Rams. That they went all in and they got it.
Yes, because that's what they chose to do. They chose to sacrifice the future for the now. So, yeah, hey, they got it. But I'm glad that we're not doing that. Like, we've wanted this for so long, and we finally have an organization that's built from top to bottom right. We haven't had that in my lifetime, probably the Lions' like entire existence. So let's do it right. Like, let's not sell out and start risk sabotaging ourselves for home run hits that we don't need to swing for the fences. Let's just keep building steady and build this roster so deep, just like the freaking Eagles. Look at them, or the Steelers, or the 49ers. Those dudes are all going to be so good for so long because even as they trade away parts, they got so many more parts. Like, we're going to be like that. I guarantee you next year, Brad Holmes is going to fill that D line and front seven with talent. Like, we're going to see another tackle, another edge rusher. Like,
and this is unrelated, but I'll throw this over to you, Jay, right now. You know, I don't know how much you've watched the Eagles this year.
Yeah.
The Lions had a chance to draft Jalen Carter. They did not. They traded back.
Still fine with it.
Do you think the Lions wish or do you, as a Lions fan, at least wish that they drafted Jalen Carter? Because he is a beast. He's probably going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
You know, yeah. Well, it would have been nice.
I would love him on our defense. So
absolutely, but you know, you can't have regrets. I think what they did was good, getting Jahmyr Gibbs. You know, so if we get Carter, we don't have Gibbs. So I don't know. You tell me. He would be great on our line. There's no doubt about it. But look forward, man. Don't look back.
The talent was never in question with this kid. Like, so you know that wasn't the reason they didn't draft him. They're building something for sustained success that involves a careful balance of chemistry. That Dan Campbell is building a team of people who are truly selfless, high character dudes with talent who are going to sell out for their teams, who are going to dedicate themselves day in, day out. Hey, maybe Jalen Carter does turn into that guy. Or maybe he has a great rookie season, flames out in the offseason when he goes drinking and race car driving. I don't know. We don't know. And that's the kind of questions I felt like they didn't feel like that kind of gamble. He didn't fit what they were looking for. So I'm okay with it. Would it be nice to have that talent there? Undoubtedly. Like, dear God, he's a freak. Like, would I like to have that presence there? Sure. But do I think could he risk blowing up like some sort of chemistry on our team? Potentially. So I trust their judgment there because I also love Gibbs. I love the potential of Campbell still. Like, I have no problem with it.
Yeah. It's a tough one because, man, I just imagine him. I'm a broken record at this point in this podcast, but I believe building through the trenches first and foremost, O-line and D-line. And, man, just having him on our D-line would have added a lot more firepower. Maybe we wouldn't be talking about some of these things we would talk about if we had them. I just think that's harder to find than a running back. Even one as special as Gibbs. And don't get me wrong, I love watching Gibbs on our team. It's been a blast. I think he's also a pretty special running back. But I do have some, wonderings, I guess.
So do you think then that maybe you would have rather taken Thibodeau for his 10.5 sacks right now?
Thibodeau would be getting double teamed as much as Hutch if he was our only threat.
Right.
Yeah, but would he beat him?
The Giants have a better D-line than we do. It's a little...
Do they?
It's a little tougher to say.
Yes, they do.
I think at the time of their pre-Hutch draft, I think we said if Thibodeau actually put it all together, he'd have maybe a higher ceiling than Hutch. Maybe that's what's happening now.
The thing, honestly, he clearly had that speed that Hutch didn't quite have, that pure explosiveness. I mean, Hutch is very quick and explosive and athletic, but he's not. I think that's what really separates him from a guy like Garrett. Is Garrett's got a little more twitch, because he's bigger. He's taller than Garrett. He doesn't have the long arms like Garrett, but I think that twitch. Hutch is not a burner off the edge. He has to use technique or power,
or a spin move.
Right, and that's
he loves a spin move.
Everyone knows it's coming at this point. I don't think I've seen it win yet this year since
I've seen it win a few times, but at the same time, I've also seen it lose a lot more than it wins.
Seriously, the biggest thing with Hutch is he just needs to develop his pass rush strategy, honestly. But he's still great. I think, honestly, I was watching that Florida State game, and that Verse kid would be just perfect on the other end. Another 6'5", 260 dude. He's built just like Thibodeau, a twitchy, long pass rusher who could get some sack. I think we need someone else to step up, and I think we got guys who could potentially still do it, like a Julian or Romeo. pull their heads
we-
out of their asses,
Can
or
we get Des Watson from Florida in a couple of years? That 400+ pound defensive tackle.
I want him. He's awesome.
What a monster!
And
what
he's
a
good.
monster!
He got a sack and then split a double team for a run stuff. Like, the dude's a freak. He's
Did you see
6'5", 436.
Did you see like his lower body? It is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a toilet that man can fit on on a regulation size.
He is a monster. It was actually really funny because like I was watching it with my parents and I'd be like, there was a 400-pound guy, and they're like, is that him? Is that no? I'm like, no, you'll see him. Like, they're pointing at dudes who are like 6'6", 360 pounds, and I'm like, no, you'll know. Like, it's not those guys. Those guys look small. Like,
That guy came into college 450 pounds, and he's dropped like 35, 40 since he's gotten there.
Yes.
So
I honestly would be like probably like Jordan Davis by the time he comes out. Like he'll probably lose a bit more of that weight.
yeah, that's
and
wild.
He's a monster. Though I am keeping unfortunately he's a freshman, so like that's so far out.
Right.
But,
Let's focus on some of the positives from this game to a degree. I thought the run game was still pretty solid in this game.
Yeah.
31 carries, 140 yards, 71 for Montgomery, 54 for Gibbs. And I thought the Lions were going to stick with it a little more to get back into this game. I thought they went away from it a little too much. If they stuck with it a little more, I think they could have helped themselves out in this game, especially with the way that they were dealing with the pass rush throughout the game. And at least Sorsdal's a better run blocker than he is a pass blocker right now, too. So I thought that would have limited that exposure. So they did not. They did not.
They also seem to get better in the hurry-up offense, too. And why can't we maybe earlier in the game maybe go to that once in a while to
like a tempo,
throw their timing up, up tempo.
I've wondered that often, UJ, not just for the Lions, any of these teams. Like when I see the Jets, for instance, like one of the worst offenses in a long time in the NFL under Zach Wilson. The only time you really see Zach Wilson like shine is under the 2-minute drill. So like, why don't these coaches sprinkle that throughout? Say like for this drive, say F it, we're just going to go in 2-minute mode.
Well,
just to change it up because clearly what you're doing is not working.
Right.
Some teams do build it into their strategy, like up tempo, but like I guess it could be one potential answer. I just off the top of my head is thinking that 2-minute drills also have a corresponding defensive shift usually, where they'll start playing more like reserve defenses and dropping coverage back, playing off coverage and things like that, where the defense basically changes their game plan and like starts opening up more. It's like prevent defense, prevent yourself from winning. Like it's so weird how that works. But you do this, you stop doing the thing that you had success with all game, and then all of a sudden the offense starts opening up on you. It's weird. But
I thought J-Mo looked good again in this game.
Yeah,
he did.
I want them to feed him like 5-6 times a game, not
way
twice.
more.
Because man, when he catches, it just and like the one over the middle, for 38 yards was beautiful. Like, I want to see that more.
I want to see more aggressiveness out of our offense, because our offense is very much take what we give you until we need it, like, and then we'll throw our deep shots. Why don't we just send J-Mo deep and take a shot early? And just see what Goff can just throw it as far as he can. Like we don't see enough of like what they did to us out of the gate. Like throw a deep ball to Watson, throw a deep ball to Jam, whatever. Like just chuck it, Like we don't. I feel like our offense. And this is like my criticism of Ben Johnson a little bit, because I think he did call some wonky plays throughout the game.
I would say the start of games though, he's the Lions are one of the best in the whole league at starting games on offense.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he doesn't call a good offense. He does call like some decent downfield stuff, but he doesn't call super aggressive stuff. He takes stuff the offense or the defense leaves him out there, and that's so much about what we do is taking what we're given, and I don't see enough taking what we want unless it's on the ground. That's the only place I kind of see it. We run a lot and we try to just enforce our will there, but I don't see us enforcing our will in the pass game at all. Like, our pass game is always just find the open guy. I don't see us throwing jump balls to the sideline. I don't see us, doing 9 routes and just chucking it. Like, I see us, like, finding, reliable crossing, reliable in routes, reliable, like, hitches. When have we thrown a straight 9? The last one I remember was against the Bears, I think, and J-Mo was running it and Goff threw it short. I don't know why, because he thought maybe
it happened in this game, too, no?
No, I don't think we did throw vert too.
We did one. Yeah, there was one.
There
I
was.
thought there was.
But it's always like at the end when we need it, and then it's just never a great attempt. Like, I just do that more. Keep people honest. Press the depth of the defense. Like, if you don't threaten the deep part of the field, at least sometimes, like, it's just the defense starts to kind of find ways to stop you. And maybe that's on Goff's arm. I don't know. But he's got a good arm when he chucks it. But
I'm not going to harp on that too much for the Lions because actually the Lions have they're top 3 in most explosive plays in the league. That's 20+ yard plays.
Yeah. Explosive play. I'm talking about verticals here, man. I'm talking about deep plays. I'm talking about big plays where you chuck it. But we rarely see Goff just chuck it. You don't see a 9 route and him chucking it until we're needed at the end. And I haven't seen him come close to successfully.
Okay,
really.
Ruddog.
I want to see them pull the deep pass. It's underthrown. JMO comes back. He gets clobbered. Pass interference for 50 yards.
That's fine. That's the
best play in the NFL.
Those plays do that, though, but we don't see enough of it. I'm calling Johnson a little bit on this. Be more aggressive downfield sometimes. Do the kind of sideline routes where you can chuck it as far as you can to JMO. Maybe it catches it, maybe it doesn't. But now you know what? You got that in the back of your mind all freaking game. Instead, it's always like crossing routes or posts or flags.
Ruddog, UJ, go.
No. I was just going to say, Ruddog, we're going to record your rant. We're going to go kidnap Ben Johnson. We're going to tie him down and make him listen to this over and over until he says, okay, I'll do it. That's it.
Okay, then.
I'm going to say, Ben Johnson, keep on doing what you're doing, buddy.
Except for that bubble screen in the red zone. That was garbage call.
That was not good.
Oh, okay. See, I guess you have criticisms too.
That was not a good play. Clearly, it wasn't a good play call. It didn't work. Easy to say in hindsight, but I mean, yeah, that did not work.
No, I just think we need to get a little more aggressive in our pass game. Just a little more. That's all. And intentionally so. Not be like, oh, let's just look for what's there. Because Goff is good at looking for what's there. But sometimes you just got to have that play where you're going to do what you intend to do no matter what. You just got to try to do that sometimes. And I just don't see that very often out of this Lions offense.
I thought Laporta looked great in this game again, too. He consistently is getting open.
That one block he opened on the left side.
For the quarterback and on those routes. But what was that, Ruddog?
There was that one, I think it was a Gibbs play off the left side, and it was he blocked that end by himself to open up the run. I forget he's such a stud. He is just so good.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. It's hard to say I want them to feed him more, or I want them to feed James more. We have a lot of talent on this offense, which is fun. There's a couple of other things I didn't mention yet. Since we're on the positive, I'll mention it. Rodrigo, nice catch in the flat for 6 yards.
First down.
Man.
I like that. Now the future teams are going to see that on tape. They'll see him as a receiving. This guy can catch out of the backfield. We're going to have to pay a little more attention to him maybe than a typical fullback that you see in the NFL.
I can't see him get
he still hasn't played a lot of snaps at fullback, but maybe that's opening the gate a little more for him.
I'm looking
they
forward
don't use fullback often in their looks, but
I'm looking forward to the fullback dive. I can't wait till he gets his hand off.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. But I thought it was really cool. I mean, to show that that guy plays defense for a reason. Can't catch type thing. But no, he showed he can clearly catch.
Honestly, that's an exciting development.
He's an athlete. He's just a little undersized, which is great for fullback actually because it gives you leverage.
I agree. I think he's perfect for it. Honestly, I love the fact that because not every team is willing to just take a linebacker and try him on the other side of the ball, or I love that they're trying to figure out a way to get this kid on the field, and I think he's built perfectly for the fullback position. I love the development. I have high hopes for it. I think he could be a true weapon.
Yeah, definitely. And now the other side of things that I forgot that we haven't discussed yet was Dan Campbell. And the Lions.
Here we go.
No, was it Dan Campbell? I don't know, but I mean, it ultimately falls on him. Going for a fake punt on their own 20. One time it worked against the Vikings. It was great. Well, the opposite happened here. It did not work, and I was praying they didn't run it. I was thinking it through my head when I saw it at the time. This alignment is not good for a fake punt, especially for the direct snap. And they did it, and it did not work. They did not have the blockers. You run it when you either have at least even strength on the line, Well, but not
They-
when you're outmanned by one guy.
They had the look earlier too. Z. We had 4th and 3, and we punted, and it was exactly that look. They left the whole like A and B gap open. A direct snap would have like almost certainly got a first down, but we punted that time. And then that time it was like full box, not even like everyone on the line, like layered defense. Like it was just the absolute worst look you can imagine to run that play into. And it wasn't even a dive, it was like a stretch play. He like didn't go forward right away. He ran sideways. Like that is the worst kind of play you could possibly call right there. I think it was a bad call to go for it, even, and just as bad, if not worse, call to make it a run. Like maybe a fake punt pass, like or something for 6 yards, but like 6 yards up the gut, that's so much on a fake punt.
Yeah, UJ, I'm sure you're not a fan of the call either, right?
I was not a fan of the call. I'm a fan in general of Campbell's aggressiveness, but
yeah.
No, in this one, no. In fact, in this game, he was just very stubborn with some of his calls. You know, we could have taken a couple field goals, and
See, I actually agreed with him on those. So.
I did on most of them, but let me just finish the thought, though. I mean, think if we had 6 extra points and we didn't give up that freaking fake punt right there that basically gave them a touchdown, and we lost by what? A touchdown. So, I mean, in this case, his aggressiveness worked against him. But, you know, it works for him most of the time. So it's hard to fault him overall, but I think sometimes you got to kind of know when to keep it in the quiver, if you know what I mean.
And you know, Z, I think that's another argument where to like calm down about this defense. Like this defense gave up 9 points in like the second half, and 7 of them, or like most of them, came off that one play. Like, I mean, I know they didn't need to give up that touchdown, but they got a super short field on that freaking fake punt. Like that's on Dan Campbell more than the D, in my opinion.
Well, I have a question for you guys too. Do you think the Lions are a little more aggressive, like especially on the 2 where they could have kicked a field goal, went for it in the 4th, didn't get it? But do you think they're a little more aggressive because Riley Patterson isn't a very good kicker?
I have a feeling that plays a factor.
He's a liability to a degree for this team. They can't go for a field goal over 50 yards either. So.
Yet another discrepancy to compare us to the top teams in this league, along with, is like watch what the Eagles did tonight, kicking a 59-yarder in the rain to tie it. Like
I need the Patriots to win, and they couldn't make a 35-yarder.
That wouldn't even be on the table for us. We wouldn't even consider rolling Riley out at 59 yards.
No, we would not.
We would just go for it. Like, we wouldn't consider rolling him out probably at 50. So I think you're on to something, Z. As much as like Dan will express his faith in Riley, I think that's like within the range. And plus, he missed a PAT to make things a little more difficult for us.
Right?
So
yeah. We got the points back, and then he kind of like sucked the air out of the room a little bit, missing that extra point. Right.
Brutal.
We could have tied the game to start.
Yeah, we need to replace him. I have no problem with him as a person. I kind of like his personality, but he's just not talented enough for our role. Like, we can't be that. Like, you can't dominate the league like the Eagles are doing right now without great players across the board. Like, there's no room for scrubs. And I'm not saying he's a total scrub, but he's pretty close. Like, I don't know. Like, he's barely a pro kicker, honestly. He's like low end.
You have faith in Riley Patterson?
Not really. But I don't think he didn't kick those short field goals because of Riley Patterson. I think he did it more because he's been getting away with it so much this year. I think he just thinks he can do it almost any time. And that's what I think. It wasn't working in this game, obviously. So, he just expects it to work. And
Riley Patterson, 13 of 15 kicking, and 31 of 30. That was his first extra point he missed all year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on a long field goal, Campbell will avoid it, and he'll do something crazy on 4th down. But the shorter ones, I don't think he's really shied away from necessarily. I think he just goes for a 4th because he thinks they're going to make it all the time.
And he's only had to line up for one game winner, which he hit against the Chargers. And he also tied it up against Seattle late, too, to make it 31-31.
I don't hate Riley in his comfort range. Like, he just doesn't have a great comfort range. Like, it's below average probably for the league, I'd be willing to bet. Like,
no, but the question was, is he going for it on 4th just because of Riley Patterson? I don't think that's the answer.
No, I still think
I don't think so, though.
I think Dan. This is what I truly believe about Dan Campbell's psychology. I think Dan Campbell absolutely hates punting and settling for field goals. I think he wants nothing but a touchdown on every single damn drive, and that's his default. So every time he hits a 4th down, his instinct says, go for it. fuck it. Like, I think that's Dan Campbell. He hates giving the ball back. But I think that's what he's been reeling in this whole time. He has to like find that sweet spot where he does the right thing. Because sometimes I do think he costs us points, like by not just kicking it. But I don't know. I love the
But in the
aggression.
Chargers game, he won us the game by going for it. So.
Exactly. So I love the aggression. I love erring on the side of aggression, and Dan Campbell's clearly on the side of aggression. He just needs to find that sweet spot where he doesn't overdo it, like going for it on 4th and 6 with a fake punt that everyone saw coming.
Yeah. Well, let me just get into the rest of the Lions schedule here. So there's 6 games left in the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lions 8-3 right now. As far as the standings in the playoffs, they are the 3 seed right now if the season ended today. The Eagles won again late, this time in overtime. They just keep on winning these ridiculously close games. I think the Eagles are very beatable, though. They keep escaping these one-score games. I think they're due to – there's always a regression for these things, especially in one-score games. Historically, if you win a bunch in a row, you're due to lose a bunch in a row. Kind of like betting.
I guess you're the Vikings last year.
Yeah, exactly. The Vikings. Great, perfect example. Some people would argue Vikings are better this year than they were last year, and they won 13 games last year. Anyways, Eagles 1 seed, 10-1. San Francisco 8-3 are the 2 seed, and that's because they have a better record against NFC opponents than the Lions. Lions sit at the 3 seed. Falcons are the 4 seed. They won today. They're 5-6, but they're the 4 seed. They would play the Cowboys, who are 8-3. Minnesota 6-5.
NFC South.
6-5. Green Bay only 1 game out of the playoffs, 5-6. So maybe the Lions will meet them again in the playoffs, possibly.
Bring them on.
And my house would be divided.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, no, that's funny. That would.
Yeah.
No, there was like this guy on YouTube who's like, he's weird. He's a Packers fan that's been like covering the Lions and like slowly falling in love with like what they're doing, and like
who doesn't? Who isn't?
After this game, he had like a weird like meltdown and was all like, I don't want to even see the Packers in the playoffs because they're scary. I'm like, calm the F down. Okay, I know they served us our lunch this week a little bit, but like honestly, like what you said about this game, I thought. If that game was like 4 minutes longer, we win it. Like, I think we were turning the ship around. Like, I think we're still the better team. They got out on us on top, and we made some mistakes, and they got us that game. But you saw us reeling them in that game. Like you saw us. That game went a little bit longer. We were the ones coming for them. Like, and we were gonna get it. I think we win that game if it was a little longer. But it is what it is. Like, maybe not, but it doesn't matter. The point is, we were focusing down, and this is what gives me more faith about this team. Even as that game looked like it was out of hand and everyone felt like it was over, you watched them just lock in and slowly just try to, reel it back in. And it's just too little too late. But, a lot of games haven't been too little too late. They usually get it done. And so I believe in this team.
Well,
we're
getting
struggling.
back to it. The Lions would play the Vikings if the season
was I
ended.
Off topic?
Yeah, I like saying it. I mean, the season ends today. The Lions will be playing the Vikings at home. Now the Vikings still have the Monday night game tomorrow. So if they lose, then they would be Seattle and the Lions. So in that range. But anyways, always fun to see. AFC Chiefs, Jaguars, and Dolphins and Ravens all tied for the best record.
Jags good.
Anyways, that's the playoff standings and such. The Lions are still far from clinching the division. They have a long way to go. Oh, yeah, the schedule.
2 Vikings.
At New Orleans, at Chicago. 2 tough games. I mean, Chicago obviously is going to give us hell.
No
especially
kidding.
division game, especially the second time seeing us, especially the way we won last game. They're going to be pissed. You talked about how the Packers came out to get us. I think the Bears will be coming out to get us too, especially with Fields playing for, his job, basically. Then Denver, we are home for a Denver team that is surging rapidly. A game that we thought maybe 2 months ago was probably going to be a cakewalk, and we put up 50 points. That is not the case. They've won 6 in a row. They would be in the playoffs this season end today, which is pretty crazy. Then we are at Minnesota, at Dallas and then home against Minnesota to end the season. Let's hope we have the division wrapped up by then. But it's 6 games is a long way to go
It is.
in the
love it.
NFL.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm so happy there's still 6 games left. I thought about that the other day. I'm like, is the season almost over? Oh no, we got 6 whole games left. This is great.
Yeah. It's still weird that the season ends not like on New Year's, like that kind of time frame, but the week after New Year's. It's still kind of weird. It's me.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it always goes into the next year anyway, so I don't really. That's like, what? All right.
But yeah, those 2 games are noon, and then the Broncos one's TBD. It says, and then the last game of the season. Well, those are always TBD. The Cowboys won Saturday Night Football, I believe.
Hey, Cowboys they've been pretty solid this year too. Like they look a little more composed. I feel like than like.
Well, they have Micah Parsons.
I wasn't even thinking about Micah, but I was
He's
just
really
I was thinking
good.
more about Dak, like looking more settled and consistent. Like honestly, like their team has looked like that team that's like wins a lot of games, but like is like always a little shaky in the last several years. Like they have a decent record, but like you can't ever really rely on them as like a real contender. But like this year, I don't know, man. I think that game's gonna be a real tough game.
Yeah. Well, the Cowboys are notorious for beating up on the bad teams really badly and then not beating any of the good teams. They're the good bad team, or the good bad good team. The second one.
I don't know.
Okay.
Did you Jay bring up how the Eagles have been winning for so long now? Earlier,
He did.
Was that okay? Good. I couldn't remember. Sometimes we talk so much Lions that I can't remember which conversations were on the pod and which ones were private. But like I think that's a big deal. Like the fact that we haven't been winning very long. You know, it takes a long time to learn all the lessons that get great.
The Lions have not been winning for a long time. Are you sure?
Let me check my
Are you
math.
positive?
Hmm.
We just had
Pretty
Matt
sure.
Patricia as our last head coach. We were on winning.
Oh, hey, you guys want to get really mad? Actually, well, here. Let's look at this. The 2019 draft when we picked Hawkinson at 8, when we could have had like, who was it? Brian Burns, who everyone wanted us to get this year.
Ed Oliver, right?
Ed Oliver, that kid everyone wants to sign from Tennessee this year, that D tackle who was a stud.
Simmons.
Yeah, Simmons.
That's
all
a little
of them.
different because he had a medical issue. But
I mean, the point is, like, there's like 4 or 5, like, legit interior and DNs that went after Hawkinson that year. And freaking, if we would have taken one of those guys, like, this would be.
well, even I think Derek Brown over Akuda in that draft too would have been helpful.
Yeah.
because
Oh,
Derek Brown's
God.
been a
Absolutely.
solid D tackle.
Kuda sucked.
He's-
Yeah, listen to this. Ed Oliver, Devin Bush. Oh, here, just to make it more relevant, Rashawn Gary went after Hawkinson at 12 to the Packers. Yeah, it would have been nice to have him in that game, wouldn't it? Like, I'm just saying, like,
Yep.
you know, it's easy to shit on this stuff, but it's easier to shit on the old stuff than the new stuff. I still think Brad's got
Yeah,
a
but if
pretty
we didn't
good
draft
record.
Hawkinson, he would have ended up on a team like in our division, like the Vikings or something. Oh wait, He did.
Yeah, right.
But we got some good stuff for that trade though too. So
Yeah.
wasn't all
I
bad.
guess.
What did we get?
Draft picks.
Which one? What
I
did it
don't
turn
know.
into? What did it turn into? Is it the guy we got? Is it Laporta? Did it turn into Laporta, or did it turn into Branch? If it turned into Branch, I'm okay because I still think Branch is
Yeah.
just ascending. I think he's going to keep getting better.
I believe it was Branch.
I think he's like ready to start popping again. Like he's kind of had some quiet, other than his penalties. He's been kind of quiet like lately.
We got a 2023 second round pick, which I believe was Branch. So
Yeah.
We traded up with it.
and then we get the third, and then their third round pick this year.
There you
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
everything
Nice.
balances out.
Which
to
maybe
some
the
extent.
Lions can use to move up in the draft to get an extra piece rather than wait to the third round to get a guy like Broderick Martin, who is a non-participant on the Lions this year for the most part.
I mean, he's a fourth
Yeah.
round pick. Are
I
we
mean, this
really
is
going
what
to
the
cry
Lions have
about
been doing
that?
to a degree, though, with some of their guys. They just kind of let them develop and hopefully turn out. But, I mean, it would have been nice to get some help in the third round with that pick, especially when you trade up for it.
Yeah.
It didn't trade up for it, it'd be a little different, but they traded up for him
For
for
Broderick?
a guy that's not ready to play.
Well, hey,
But maybe he's
honestly,
different
though,
what they expected.
if
But
he
if you look at
pans
the
out
tape, I don't
next
know what they
year-
expected.
if he pans out next year, I'm fine with it.
Well, yeah, obviously all be fine with it if it pans out, but right now it's not panning out.
But I'm also okay with casting. What did we get him in the third round? You said.
Right, we traded up for him at near the end of the third.
Oh, did we pick another third round pick too, or was he the only third round pick? Because anyway, I'm just saying, like, I'm okay with taking a guy like him for a cast at the future is all with a third rounder. And the better your team gets,
with you here.
the less the better your team gets. Every draft round after one is less likely to start. Like your second rounders are less likely to start. The better you are.
We got Hendon Hooker.
I
don't know why I didn't remember.
Oh, and I'm not gonna lie. As much as I love JG and I still really believe in his abilities and stuff, like every time he does bad, like because he does look bad in like a way that makes you feel like I just hear this whisper in the back of my mind.
Well, I think the thing the Hooker could offer that Goff doesn't is just the mobility piece. Like Goff has absolutely none whatsoever.
It's not just that though, unfortunately, because
it's not Peyton Manning bad, I suppose. But
you watch some of these other guys like Herbert or something, and the way they can just flick the ball downfield, like. Did anyone else think Jared was like really like railing his passes in this last game? He looked tense. He was like trying to like drive the ball downfield weird. Like it didn't look like his normal casual just put it where it needs to be throws. He was trying to throw ropes and it didn't look like him. But like guys like those more talented passers or like physically more talented like can like kind of just flick it, like it just gets there. And he doesn't quite have that level of arm.
Lions could have drafted Herbert too.
Oh, I'm okay. Well, who do we get? Kuda?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank God for that. No. Yeah, if only we knew Stafford was going to bail on us that year.
Well, I think it's time to wrap up this pod.
Wait, Z.
Oh, sorry, UJ.
I haven't had much chance to talk on this pod because someone's been talking a lot. But I just have a message for the fans. I have a message for the fans out there, the ones who are like falling off the train here. They're doubting the Lions here, despite this great season we're having. And kind of just my message is kind of to quote Chrissy Hine and the Pretenders. Ooh, get back on the train, yeah. Ooh, ah, oh, back on the Lions train, yeah. Woo! That's it.
Thank you, UJ. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. No, don't worry. I mean, as we were mentioned, or somebody was saying, Lions are 8-3. Like this is, it was a bad game, and Thanksgiving's obviously a very important game to us. We want to win that one, and it's been a long time since they have. But nonetheless, we want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. Yeah. We'll be back later this week. We'll probably release it on Thursday like we usually do, where the Lions will be traveling to New Orleans. And it's like a mini bye week, right, when they're playing these Thursday games. It's a little extra. The Thursday games are nice in terms of, like, the reward you get after is, like, a longer layoff in between games, which only benefits this team with the health issues. So the Lions will be traveling there, and we'll be releasing the episode Thursday. So look for it on Apple, Spotify, where you get your podcast. Download it. Please subscribe. Please leave a review. Greatly appreciate that. We want to know your thoughts about this Lions team. Where do you think they're going to end up by the end of the year? And you can send that to us at Instagram, which is at Drinking the Blue Kool-Aid, Twitter/X at Drinking Lions. You can also email us on Gmail. That's drinkingthebluekoolaid@gmail.com. If you have any opinions you want us to share on the podcast, thank you to SidelineReport.com for sponsoring the podcast, and thank you to our producer, KJ. All right. Thanks to our producer, Kid J. And his, we've mentioned it before. He's a Rams fan, and his Rams are just one game out of the playoffs, so he's not out of it either. He's still on the edge of his seat, but they're not out of it. They're along with the Packers at 5-6. So, anyways, we want to thank everybody for listening. We'll be back later this week, and thank you to all our listeners. We greatly appreciate you. Don't worry, we're 8-3. We got this, baby. So, last but not least, as always,
Go.